In 1983, Henry Clay didn't just have a good house, they had a great house. Sir, if you would, tell us who you are.
Hi, Greathouse. I'm right now. I'm one of the athletic directors at Northeast ISD in San Antonio, Texas. My career has been coaching wrestling and football. In the past 28 years now, I'm an athletic director. But my high school, I wrestled in high school and college. Wrestled at Henry Clay High School from 1983 to 1985, and then I wrestled at Appalachian State University after that.
No kid, I didn't know you wrestled at Appalachian State, man.
Yes, sir.
There's a lot of schools from like where my side of the state, eastern part of Kentucky. They'll go to App State's wrestling camp. They just had it here a little bit ago.
Especially nowadays with the guy they got there. He was really good. So
yeah, is that the Mountaineers? Correct? Am I right about that? That's what I thought, man. Yeah, they got a really nice. The photos I've seen, they have a really nice practice room and everything now. So a lot of teams go. Like we said, man, you're the 1983 126-pound state champion. And the question that we start everybody off with to kind of lay the foundation is, what gets you into wrestling, man? How do you find it?
Oh, I can tell you that. That's an easy question because my father, he wrestled in high school in Huntington, West Virginia, and some in Pittsburgh. My grandfather wrestled in the Pennsylvania area. He wrestled for Washington and Jefferson and played football there. And then my dad wrestled at Marshall University back in the 60s. And and like I said, he wrestled for Huntington High with Coach. I don't know if you know Coach Bill Archer.
I've heard the name. I don't know him, but I've heard that name over the years.
They wrestled in high school and college together. So we have a little tie with the Huntington High guys from them. But my dad and I started wrestling in Kansas when I was about 4 or 5 years old. We were wrestling. My father was in the military, so that's his background. And we were stationed at Fort Riley, Kansas. And we would wrestle at the kids club at Kansas State University back when that's how long ago that was. Wow. Kansas State had a wrestling program. And my dad was he was a Big 8 official, a wrestling official at the time. So that's
kidding.
There was a lot.
That's awesome. I had no idea.
Yeah.
And you mentioned there about Marshall University having a wrestling team. Yes, so many people don't know how many colleges and universities actually had wrestling back in the 60s, 70s, 80s. And so I started posting on my social media about how successful the University of Kentucky's program was, like with Garrett Headley, Joe Carr, the Fletcher Carr was the head
Dave Grant,
coach there.
All those guys came there.
All those. And Morehead State had a wrestling program.
Right.
Of course, like I said, Marshall. So that's something that we're working on, is getting like a list of the schools in Kentucky, a little bit in West Virginia that people are close to that kind of had wrestling way back when, just to spread the awareness, man.
Yeah. So I can tell you this: I would have wrestled in college at University of Kentucky because Coach Carr saw a lot of my high school matches, and there's no doubt I would have gone to Kentucky because Coach Headley, he had an influence. But they dropped the program. I think it was my sophomore, junior year, so they dropped it. So it's one of those things.
Yeah, man. Of course, Title IX took a lot of scholarships, and
for sure,
that was something that couldn't be helped. And wrestling, unfortunately, was on the chopping block, and it's just one of those things that maybe in a different time period, maybe some money could have been moved around or something to that effect, but it was just one of those casualties that come through.
For sure.
So you move into Kentucky as a sophomore, correct?
That's correct, yeah.
83 season, okay. And, of course, we have your bracket. So coming in, of course, Henry Clay had a program. They had a couple state champions, the Walterman brothers, a couple other guys. Was that going to Henry Clay, them having a wrestling program, was that like your, the catalyst of why you went there? Was it just close in your neighborhood, or?
Oh, no, yeah. We were going to, that's a good question. Because my mom and dad, they were looking for either one. Everybody had a wrestling program, but I think they just found a house in the Henry Clay area. And they had heard that Henry Clay had a pretty good wrestling program out of the 4 schools that had their. I think it was either that or Tate's Creek. And
I
where
got
we
you.
lived, yeah, I think we were pretty close to Tate's Creek, so we're kind of in the middle there. But I just happened to be zoned out at Henry Clay. So
No, I get it. I completely understand. Now, when I guess you enroll there and first day of practice, do you kind of walk in thinking, nice? Did you have any like off season work with the guys? Did you come in
but
straight
well,
in?
I mean, I played football there too, and I played
Okay.
baseball. So I was in some other sports. So I knew some of the guys. And Coach Powell, he was I mean, I think he had a meeting. He was the the coach at the time, the head coach, and you know, he was kind of, everybody that comes in that's new, you don't know what you're getting until you actually get out there. So we were kind of, I think my dad had talked to him and went through his background, and then next thing you know, we were in wrestling season, and we're off to Christian County for a duel in a big tournament over there. So that was my first experience in Kentucky wrestling. So
Yeah, man, and of course back in the '80s, your Christian counties, your Union counties, and your hop towns, man, that western part of the state, man, that was a meat grinder out there, especially that hop town tournament. But
very
let's
much
talk
so.
about your 1983 bracket here. I've got it pulled up.
Okay.
Of course, we're at Atherton Gym there in Louisville, 16-man bracket, and back even up until the 2002 season, we had districts, regions, and then the state tournament. So there was 3 weeks back to back to back of postseason wrestling. You start off the state tournament with a 5-0 decision over Otis Morris from Louisville Seneca. So pretty good. Get in, get the win. Nothing crazy, nothing fancy. Survive and advance, I guess. You get to the
definitely
quarters.
my MO. Yeah.
Hey, man, as long as it worked for you know what I mean?
That's
In doing
exactly
this
right.
series, I believe your video number 328, 329, and so many different people have so many different philosophies on wrestling. Some guys are, I had to get the pin as quick as I could. I hated to be out there any longer, so I'd get a pin quick as I could. And some people was just like, it never really bothered me to wrestle the whole match. Just score when I could. I knew I could hit it. I knew I'd get to my feet. I just kind of enjoyed being out there. So I guess the philosophy of just you knowing yourself, knowing what you're good at, and maybe not putting yourself in a rush. As long as it works for you, you can't really knock it. You know what I mean?
No, I was definitely a take them down, being very good on my feet, and take them down, and then control them. Just try and ride them. Wasn't a big turner. I'd try a little bit just to keep me from getting hit up with stalling. But and at least my sophomore year, I was going to control and that's what happened the first match. I know that was because that guy was strong. I remember him being really strong, and I didn't want to give him something that I didn't want to make a mistake. How about that?
No, I get it. Then you get to the quarters. You're wrestling Joe Waitley from Louisville Wagner. Again, you win by another decision of 5-0. So that's a pretty good.
That was a good first day.
Pretty good first day, man. Pretty good first day. You get to the semifinals. You're wrestling Matt Kolb from St. Xavier out of Louisville. So 3 back-to-back Louisville area schools. And you win that by a 5-4 decision. So
that's correct.
You're, again, survive in advance, man. You know what I mean? Survive in advance.
Yeah, I don't know if that one's not on video, but I did feel in that match I was in a little more control. I gave some stuff up that I probably shouldn't have, and my dad will very much tell me all about it. But at the time, it was stuff that I shouldn't have given up that I did, but I never felt like I wasn't in control of the match of that one.
No,
but
I get it.
Another very strong opponent, and really strong guy, and good wrestler, because I know he had beaten, if I believe it was Kerry Lancaster from Christian County, because he was in that side of the bracket too.
Actually, Waitley beat Waitcaster before you got to him.
Yeah, because I lost to Kerry Lancaster in my first match in Kentucky, and I was winning and ended up getting pinned, and it was one of those fluke things. But anyway, welcome to Kentucky, and that was me. But anyway, like I said, I was worried about him, and the other guy I was thinking about, and that was Robert Hall, and I believe he got beaten the first round from Fern Creek.
Let's see here. Robert Hall, is that correct?
That's right. And I believe he won state at the next year or the year after. I think.
Robert got beat by Pete Kappas from Paducah Tillman by a fall.
Right.
Yep. So, but
Pete Kappas was good at that.
Yeah. All these teams like Seneca, they had a great program. Wagner, they had several in the 80s, several state champions. Christian County, St. Xavier, Fern Creek, Campbell County, Hoptown, J-Town, Fort Knox. They had some really good kids back then. So, I mean, this was a pretty tough bracket, just looking at some of the names and some of the schools that I can remember. But you're in the finals, and you're wrestling Kevin Griffith from Campbell County. Now, it's got your record on here, just penciled in right beside your name in the finals at 30-4. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, well, it's good people kept the record back then. You know what I'm saying? They was able to write that down.
Oh yeah, no, they put your total record right there, and they wrote it in. Nothing, typed in.
I don't know if you can see that or not with the camera.
Yeah.
I'll put in a screenshot. It says 30-4 right beside your name.
Oh yeah, no, I have that bracket at my house.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, somebody
That's
got
awesome,
it and framed it for me. So
now, of course, wrestling Kevin Griffith, Campbell County, even back in the 80s before highways are what they were now, Lexington and Alexandria isn't that far of a trip. Did you wrestle Kevin before this?
Yes, we did. That actually, I wrestled Kevin 3 times in my career. Just once that year, and then once my junior year. But that year, we were up in, I think it was the Northern Kentucky Duels, and we wrestled. Henry Clay wrestled Campbell County on one of the duels. Anyways, I didn't even know who the guy was. He didn't know who I was, and it was probably 2 guys that were pretty good wrestlers that didn't have a clue we were going to wrestle. And that match ended up, I think it was, I want to say it was like 7-4. Kevin probably had it on there already. Him and I, we got to know each other a little bit, so he was a pretty good guy. So after all this,
and of course we, when I say we did the review video, getting Kevin's side of it. In 2023, Campbell County Wrestling had like an alumni cookout. They invited me up. We done some review videos. And Kevin, after you guys watch David's video, go back and watch Kevin's, get his perspective on it, because you're one of the few videos that we've got the winner and the state runner-up. So it's going to be good to get both sides. But has it been a while since you've seen your match video?
I've never seen it. How about that?
Well, that is, man, I'm glad to share it with you. We have your face-off, the match, and medal ceremony. So I'm gonna get it pulled up here. And of course, like I said earlier, we're at Louisville Atherton Gym. This is the finals. We've got a lot of lot's a big word. We have several 1983 champions. We have Jeff Merritt from Hoptown on the channel. Yeah. Troy Cole from Connor, which Connor wins the team title this year. Yeah. We have several 1983 guys on the channel, and I'm glad that we were able to get up with you, man. So let's go back to 1983, man.
Okay.
Do you remember the big spotlights on the side of the mats?
Oh yeah, no, I do not remember that at all. I just remember I do remember cutting a lot of weight to get to 126. That was a big cut for me.
I got you. Now there you are in frame there, kind of getting loose.
Free badge, I'm ready to go. That's him.
Kevin. Now, of course, in case you don't know, Henry Clay has like a dark blue color. Campbell County is purple, but in this video, the singlets kind of look the same. The biggest difference is Kevin's got on the gold knee pads.
Right. Yeah.
Now, right here from neutral, man, what's our go-to takedown? What are we looking to do?
I'm going into a double, but my first thing was I'm going to pull down on the opposite elbow, right? And then I'm going to a single like that. And he kind of he countered it, but it left the double open. So I finished off with a double. But like I said, it's Kevin, and we wrestled each other before. He's tough to hold on the bottom. So we didn't really, if you look at it, didn't really finish that. So and he's a lot like me in the fact that we're both pretty aggressive on our feet. We're gonna do a lot of attacking, not a whole lot of sitting there feeling each other out like the kids do nowadays. It's more, hey, we're gonna go take a shot and see what happens rather than kind of wait and look what our defense does. But and this me being on top, I definitely like being in like I said, I'm going to control the arms, I'm going to control ankles, and there you go, giving stuff up, and because I'm trying to fix my headgear or whatever.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah, and but at this point in the match, I'm not really too worried about it. I'm like, okay, I'm pretty sure I can get out, which I did, reverse, whatever, and take him down when I need to. So, and that's going through my mind. Of course, everybody's going to be like that. So, but this match kind of goes back and forth like that.
In your corner, you have you talked about earlier, Coach Powell, and I believe your dad's in your corner as well, correct?
Right. Yes, my dad is. Yes, he helped that program, and he was obviously a big influence in my wrestling career. But
now, Kevin's got Coach Bankamper in his corner, and I'm not sure who the other gentleman. I have to ask Mike, who's there with him. I forget off the top of my head. So, kind of went out of bounds there, got a breakdown off the whistle. Was there something that you knew you could hit on Kevin, or something you knew you were just good at?
To tell you the truth, I'm kind of riding right now and kind of trying to, work on a turn, and we'd wrestled before. It was almost an identical type of match where he's pretty loose on the. He's pretty, I should say, squirrely on the bottom. I don't know if squirrely is a good word, but he's hard to control. You know what I'm saying? He's flopping around, and he's very good at getting out. It's hard to control his hips. So,
now right here, you're going down on this. Were we a stand up, a switch, what?
Oh, I'm always a sit out guy. At this time, I was a sit out and then move to something else. And you can see, I'm just going to sit out, kind of try and turn in, get into some kind of neutral, and then get to where I always felt like I was strongest on my feet. And I wanted to be really good on my feet. That's what I worked with, especially later on in my high school career. We were working with, I don't know if you know a guy named Ken Sherito and Bobby Taylor.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I work out with them. We were working out with those guys over Christmas because my grandparents lived in Huntington. So I was a lot of the time in the summers and stuff like that, I'm working out with those guys. So we're trying to, be good on our feet and do stuff. But obviously a little different style than those two, but kind of the same philosophy though. Be good on your feet and keep working. Yeah, Kevin, he was good on the top too. It was usually I was out quicker than this with whoever I wrestled, but he was pretty tough on the top. It just, like I said, I'd sit there, get a sit out, and then kind of look for something that was going to happen. Somebody always make a mistake. So
yeah. Now, of course, today's the first time I've ever met you on either video or in person. But the video, it looks like you're a pretty tall guy here. You got pretty long legs, pretty long arms. Is that a fair?
That's a very good assessment because I told you I cut a lot of weight, man. There was a lot of, back then there wasn't you had to certify at the beginning of the season, but it didn't matter. You had to have X amount of matches. But at that time I was probably cutting 25 pounds to get down to 126. So. My
goodness.
Yeah.
And talked earlier about the big lights on the side there you go.
Yeah, that was it.
The lights on the side of the mat, like the cameras back then, of course, aren't what they are today. And the lights are so bright that every now and then it'll like wide out on us, and we really can't see what's going on. So I didn't know if you remember the big spotlights on the sides of the mats or not.
I guess I was oblivious to it. I'm pretty. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I didn't have any recollection of that. I guess it happened because my father, I asked him too. He didn't know either. He didn't remember. Okay, I do remember this though. I do remember being pretty happy I was on top because I said, I'm going to turn him right. Because my dad says, yeah, you got to turn him. And I remember him telling me that. So I said, okay, I'll turn him. And he was either wanting me to turn him or let him out so I could take him down. I think I was behind at this point.
Well, and, we're going in. We're tied 7-7.
Is that what it was? Okay, it's 7-7.
Start the third period. We're tied 7-7. You've got a half in there.
Yeah.
We're working a half, I should say.
And my dad told me, he goes, you either got to turn him or let him up and take him down. So I said, okay, I'm turning him. So that was a thing.
Now, is your dad that this shot, is he on the left or the right?
He's on the right.
Okay.
That's Coach Powell, the guy raising his arms.
Throwing his hands up?
Yeah. And then Coach Headley, he didn't come in until I think it was my junior and senior year he was there. So he was a very good influence as well. But anyways, just kind of trying to work to turn him here. And, and you notice how the match has slowed down. We were both kind of pretty evenly matched. I would say that we're going to we kept on reversing each other, taking each other down, doing whatever. And it was just one of those things that this was a hard match because I remember being very tired at the end of this match. I mean, more so than any other match because there was, like I said, getting in bad positions, trying to turn somebody when I shouldn't be there.
Now, right there, he got a reversal on you.
And then it comes right back to him, yeah.
Yep. So you're down as of right now. You're down 7-9, late in the third. But you don't look to be panicked, though. You know what I mean? You don't look like you're in just desperation.
So it was 7-9 right now, huh? Maybe it was this time. Yeah, because I think that I was going to say because if you go back to that last sequence, I do remember this. There was 10 seconds left, and the guy kept on saying, "Okay, there's 10 seconds left," and I was underneath. I said, "I'm going to get an escape here." I knew I was getting out. There was no way I wasn't getting out. So that's what you were seeing. So
okay.
So they gave me the two back points when I turned him there. So that worked out. But awesome.
And here's the medal ceremony. You can kind of see the lights have kind of got us. They focused back in here.
Yeah. I remember I really didn't realize what I had done at this point. I was kind of, hey, you just were, my dad said, "Hey man, you're the state champion. You just won state in, Kentucky here." And my coach was very excited. And I'm like, yeah, it was like another tournament for me, and I don't know. It hit me that later on that evening, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this. But what a great feeling though. I mean,
absolutely.
It's one of those things that, and I was young too. So we had I was a sophomore. So there was a lot more going on, there
you are on top of the podium, man.
Career. Yeah. Very cool. I've never seen this before. That's awesome, man. Oh, great.
You and Kevin kind of share a handshake and a little bit of a hug there, and
we wrestled each other twice. Both the matches were extremely close, and he's a good guy, man. I had respect for him. He had respect for me. It was two athletes that competed hard and went out, and I know he was a successful wrestler his whole career in Kentucky, and
he's still a coach with the Campbell County program. I think he now kind of focuses more on the middle school and youth, but he's still involved with the program. So very very active up there, man. And the Henry Clay, man, the Blue Devils, they've got it going on. Just some of the names that we've done, just real quick, some of the names we've done review videos with so far. 1985, Shane Stamatis. 1987, some guy named Dominic Black. I think his wrestling career turned out all right, didn't it?
Very much so. And yeah, he was Dominic, when I was a senior, he was a sophomore there. So we wrestled a bunch together. And actually, to tell you the truth, we would drive Dominic home after practice. I mean, Shane and I were pretty much very good friends during high school. And Dominic Black, we had a very good, we all three, it was a good relationship. Dominic was just a young guy to us at the time, but he had the potential. he wasn't as successful as nobody expected him to do what he did. But I know Coach Headley, my dad had a good influence on where Dominic went in college, but I know Coach Headley really had the biggest one. So
yeah, and of course Dominic is the best wrestler ever come through Kentucky as far as his international, national, all that.
I saw your Hall of Fame video. I was very impressed. So
yeah. Thank you, man. Thank you.
No, that was because I only got to Dominic and then Dave Grant, because I worked out with Dave Grant a bunch too. I all the guys. Let's see, what's his name? Brian Boone. He wrestled at Henry Clay for us. He was Dave Grant's age, because I know Dave Grant was at Tate's Creek.
Mm-hmm.
And then right. Jeff Pratt was another guy from Tate's Creek. We were all Lexington guys that knew each other. They were older, and they'd come home. I'd work out with them in the summer. Even Dave Grant, when we were talking about, because he was at Northern Iowa at the time as a grad assistant, and he was trying to get me to maybe come out there and wrestle. And I don't know, but like I said, Lexington's a big small town. You know what I mean?
It is. And I was just in there yesterday as of this filming. I actually had to meet up with Coach Headley and give I had some of the artifacts and some of his memorabilia from his wrestling days, and I had to drop it there off of it at his office there on Harrisburg Road. And Lexington is, like you said, it's the biggest small city, I believe, in the world. I mean, you know what I mean? Yeah. It feels that way.
Everybody knows everybody. That's for sure.
That's the truth. 1992, Tony Condi, he's on the channel. 1994, Tim Lawson. 1997, Dan Carmen. Two-time state champion. 1996 and 97, David Moore. 2011, Joe Whalen. And then two-time state champion, his brother, Michael Whalen. 2012, 2014. And, of course, now you're the 11th Henry Clay state champion we've got on the channel. I believe Henry Clay has a total of 21 state champions, so we've got pretty good number of the state champions on the channel. So watching that video back after 41 years now, I guess it's been, does it kind of mentally play out the way you remember it? Or
yes and no. I mean, there was a lot of the detail I just remember it being a tough match going both ways, where I'm reversing him, he's reversing me, and there wasn't a whole lot. I was trying to be in control more, and he was trying to do the same thing. And it was just two competitive guys that wanted to win, and somebody had to win it, or somebody had to finish up on top, and somebody had to lose that one, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, I get it. And we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about 1985, 138 pounds as a senior. You come in third place. You get to the semis. Ernie Herring from Hoptown beat you with a 5-9 decision. Of course, Ernie goes on to be a two-time state champion, 86 and 87. I'm not sure if you know this, but Ernie passed away on us a couple years ago.
Wow.
And we done a memorial video for him on the channel. I'll send you the link there. I'll text it to you. But Jared Rudd that year wins it. And we actually met with Jared a couple weeks ago. So if you want to go back and watch that match, it's on the channel as well.
Okay.
1985 video.
I definitely would be going through your channel. Yeah, that'll be good.
Yeah, man, we got a lot of history on the channel, man. A lot of great stories, a lot of great names, and man, you just add to the legacy.
In third place from Henry Clay, David Greathouse. In second place from Hopkinsville, Ernie Herring.
You're a current athletic director. You said you've coached, you wrestled in college. The sport of wrestling in Kentucky is growing. We're adding teams, middle school, elementary, high school teams. I mean, every year we've been adding. And there's a lot of people coming into the sport now that are just doing it because their kids are interested, or their kids may have started in a school or in a club, I should say, in another school district, another county, and they're just trying to get a program going so their kids can have an opportunity to wrestle. Your experience as a wrestler, growing up with a referee dad, wrestling in college, athletic director now, what's some good information that a up-and-coming team, or maybe somebody that's thinking about starting a team, what's some good information you could give them that way they get started on the right foot?
Okay, well, if you're going to start a wrestling program, and in Texas, it's very similar to Kentucky. We're having a lot of different teams. and I'm the Region 4 Director of Wrestling for the UIL, which is like the KHS double or KHSAA, whatever athletic. So UIL is our athletic association. I run the Region 4 wrestling tournament for the 6A schools here.
Wow.
And I've done that. But anyways, my advice for any school that's to start one, wrestling is a great sport for anybody. And you know, because a lot of people don't understand it, that if a guy weighs 105 pounds, he's going to wrestle another guy that's 105 pounds. He's not going to have to wrestle some guy that's 250, 290, you know. And it's relatively inexpensive. Once you get the initial costs of uniforms, wrestling mat, you know, some headgear and some stuff like that for the kids, it's the other stuff that you're paying for is just costs for travel or for entry fees for tournaments, stuff like that. It's a great sport. And girl, I believe, does Kentucky have a girls program now?
Yes, this was our first year. We just had the 23-24 school year was our first year with girls. That's correct.
I can tell you this, because Texas has had it. They're one of the first ones that have had it. And just being around the wrestling in Texas as it's grown, because we've had that girls wrestling, our numbers have grown because instead of fighting Title IX, why don't we just say, hey, the girls have their own program and the guys have their program? I think it's awesome. You can have one coach or two coaches, however they want to do it. But one coach, like in our school, for our 7 high schools that we have one head wrestling coach, and he coaches both the boys and the girls. So, and it works well. So you really, you know, like I said, it's pretty easy to start one of those programs. And there's a lot more people out there that have a wrestling knowledge in your communities than people know about. You know, they just come out of the woodwork if you're starting a program. I'll keep score, or I'll do this, or there's always somebody there that wants to help, especially because wrestling, that's a tight knit community.
Yeah.
As you know, and that's one of those things I preach. I think it's an easy sport to put in your programs. It's like it's not expensive, so it works for everybody. So,
and that's something in doing this series. This is July 19th, 2024. Going into this coming school year will be my 19th year officiating. And you're an official as well. Yeah, I've refereed the state tournament a couple times. I've been all over the state, and we go all over. And especially now with the series, I'll tell everybody, if you have a question, I'll be more than happy to answer. Do my best, give my opinion on anything you can ask me. Just don't ask me when I'm officiating out there, because it's kind of hard to watch a match and have somebody come up and try to have a conversation. Hey, give me just a minute, let the match finish. You know what I mean? So, being all over the place, doing everything from the little kids, the 4U, all the way up to the boys and girls high school state tournament is you said it's a closed community. It's a very tight knit, very small community.
Very much so.
Communities are starting to kind of come around. You're starting to see programs starting up that basically it's nothing but the football team just learning some footwork drills, learning how to do a double, single, maybe some like freestyle bear hugs or some Greco locks just for their linemen or whatever, tackling drills pretty much for the football team.
That's it.
But it's great to see the girls have the opportunity finally to have a true state championship, and it's great to see the youngsters get the opportunity to start young, because for a long time Kentucky had been behind the 8 ball on only having like high school and above, no middle school organization, especially no elementary. And like you said, unless dad wrestled, big brother, uncle, grandpa, somebody in the neighborhood, you just really didn't see wrestling until you got into high school. And they would, we're starting practice on October 15th. All boys interested, please bring your shorts and a T-shirt to the football practice room or wherever it was, to the auxiliary gym. So, man, that's great information about, with your experience, man, especially. You say you're over 7 high schools. Is that correct?
Yeah, we have 7 high schools in our school district, 6A high schools. And
my goodness, man. And that's
it's a big school district.
And you're in San Antonio, correct?
Yes, sir. San Antonio.
That's what I thought, man. So that's kind of cool, man. Kind of cool getting your story on here. I know all the Blue Devils and everybody from everybody that remembers your name or have seen your photo up in Henry Clay's gym or their trophy case area there for all these years are going to be glad to finally put some mat time with it. So, Dave, man, before we wrap this one up, do you have anything else you'd like to add, say, take away?
I was going to say, you said you're from Eastern Kentucky, right?
Yes.
Did you wrestle there?
I did. I wrestled for Johnson Central.
I was going to say Johnson Central. I remember a guy, what was his name? I moved up at the Tates Creek Christmas tournament. I wish I could remember his name. Dude, he was a big dude. He was wrestling 132, and I think it was 1983. I think it was 83. Anyway, the Tates Creek Christmas tournament, the dude from Johnson Center, he was there. He was just a big, huge, like strong dude. And I ended up wrestling him. It was a good match we had for the finals. But I remember the Johnson Central guys. You guys always had a good program over there.
Yeah, they've got, of course, I never was a state champion or even a state placer, but, we all can't be as good as you. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I'm kidding, bro. I'm joking. No, that's kind of after I got out of school. I graduated in 2003, and I immediately saw the need, even when I was wrestling, about how scarce the official pool was, because we were having to pull guys from West Virginia, Ohio. There wasn't hardly anybody local. So I was like, when I graduated, I was like, I can do this. I can officiate. Right. And now we're, we train new officials. We even train referees that's been in the game for a while. And especially now with the review series, man, we've been able to build an audience where people can come to the YouTube channel and get quality information. They can get quality instruction. They can get stats. They can get history. They can hear stories and just make the entirety of the wrestling community better. That's kind of what the whole goal is here, is just to provide increase to the wrestling community, whether you're on Fontaine Road in Lexington or you're in San Antonio, Texas. You know what I mean? It's just we just want to provide the increase. So, Dave, man, thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it. It's been great to get you on.
And well, thank you too, because that was it was a wonderful experience to get to go through this again. I didn't even think anybody, it's awesome that you do this for everybody.
Well, thank you, man.
And it's very good for a wrestling community. So
as soon as I get it edited and get it on my channel, I'll be sure to text it to you. That way you can have it and have it forever, and even let maybe some of your former wrestlers watch it and talk about how good
they
you
would
were.
Love, I mean? They probably would love to watch that. They'll laugh.
Oh, man, that's awesome. I can't wait to get it edited, get it on the channel. That way you can disperse it as you like. But I believe that's all we got for this one. Thank you all for watching. We will see you guys and girls on the mats.